कुछ आवाज आ रही थी। देन मैंने वो मैकेनिक कैब में गया, देन उन्होंने मुझे की हैंड ओवर किया।
Hello. Check.
Good morning all. Please be seated in your places kindly. Good morning everybody. We request you to occupy the front seats before you go back. Please come and occupy the front seats. Thank you.
మొదలవుతుంది నాతోనే ఎండ్ అవుతుంది. ఏ రిలేషన్షిప్ అయినా మనం కలిసే పర్సన్ బట్టి డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటుంది. రామ్, ఎవరా అమ్మాయి?
Are you married?
Participants, please settle down, occupy the front seats. We'll have dignitaries joining us soon. Check. Hello.
ஆமா, அந்த சரிவான நிலம் அது என்னாச்சு ராஜேஷ்?
பிளான் ரெடி பெரியப்பா.
பேப்பர் ரெடியா வச்சுக்கோ, விக்கிறதுக்கு.
சீனோ, நல்லா யோசிச்சுக்கோ. வாழ்க்கையில ஒரு தடவை தான் வீடு கட்ட முடியும்.
நம்பிக்கை வைங்க, வீட்டை உறுதியா தான் கட்டுவோம்.
எனக்கு ஒரு வாய்ப்பு தான், இதுக்காக என்ன வேணாலும் செய்வேன். என் லட்சியத்தை போல வலிமையோட நான் என் வீட்டை கட்டுவேன்.
ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்குப்பா. நீ அல்ட்ராடெக்க மட்டும் தான் சூஸ் பண்ணிருக்க. எதனால?
பெரியப்பா, அப்பா தான் கத்து கொடுத்தாரு, வாழ்க்கையில ஒரு தடவை தான் வீடு கட்ட முடியும்னு.
சாதிச்சுட்டப்பா.
வீடு ஒண்ணு, வாய்ப்பு ஒண்ணு. அதனால சிமெண்டும் நாட்டின் நம்பர் 1. அல்ட்ராடெக், இந்தியாஸ் நம்பர் 1 சிமெண்ட்.
From the eloquence of ink to the dynamism of digital interfaces, literature has long been the vessel of human intellect, perpetually evolving, endlessly shaping, and eternally illuminating the pathways of knowledge. A very pleasant morning to one and all present here. It is our profound pleasure to welcome you all to the 2-day international conference From Ink to Interface English Studies 2.0, jointly organized by the Department of English and Foreign Languages and the Center for Distance and Online Education, Bharathiar University, Coimbatore. This conference seeks to integrate the evolving landscape of English studies, tracing the continuum from traditional textual scholarship to the dynamic digital millennium. Over the next 2 days, this academic synod will bring together renowned academicians from across the world to deliberate on how literature responds to shifting media and cultural contexts. On behalf of the organizing committee, I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all the distinguished academicians, resource persons, research scholars, and students who have joined us for an exchange of meaningful academic dialogue. As we proceed with the inauguration of this conference, let us take a moment to invoke the blessings of our literary muse. I now request everyone to raise and join in the rendition of the Tamil Thai Valthu. Thank you. Please be seated. To form formally inaugurate this conference, we now proceed with the ceremonial lighting of the lamp, a timeless gesture that signifies the illumination of intellect. May I now request Professor Dr. V. Bharathi Harishankar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Avinashlingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore, to light the lamp. I also invite our distinguished speakers and dignitaries to join her on stage. Our registrar, Dr. V. Rajvel, is now lighting the lamp. Dr. R. Palanivel, sir, is lighting the lamp now. Professor Dr. T. Marks, Professor, Department of English, Pondicherry University. Dr. V. Padmanabhan. Thank you, one and all. Every meaningful academic gathering begins with a gesture of cordial welcome. As the convener of this conference and the professor and head, Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bharathiar University, Dr. P. Nagaraj has been instrumental in orchestrating this scholarly exchange. Sir, may I now respectfully invite you to deliver the welcome address?
Happy morning to each and everyone present on this lovely occasion, today, International Conference on Aim to Interface, and we collaborated with Distance and Online Education. At the outset, ladies and gentlemen, it's really an honor to have amidst us Professor Dr. V. Bharati ma'am, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Avinashlingam Institute for Home Science, and we have amidst us our Honorable Registrar Sir, Professor Dr. Rajvel, our Head of the Department, Professor Palanivel Sir, Professor Chelisari Sir, Professor Marks, the Head of the Department from Pondicherry University, and my colleagues, Dr. Padmanabhan, the coordinator of this conference, Dr. Dashita Vagesh, Dr. Kasi Raj, Dr. Vinod Kumar, Dr. David Raj, and a scholar and his faculty, Abhinaya, and Dr. Kalaivani. Hope no, I have not missed anyone. That is the worrying factor always, like this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's really an honor and happy and lovely occasion, the presence of the Honorable Vice Chancellor of prestigious institution. Just a few gesture, like in the sense, when I went on to invite her into her chair, the way she greeted us, and very personal perspectives she had shared between us in connection to the higher education context and how much she stressed on how the faculty members have to be socially responsible, particularly in the context of the higher education scenario. In that sense, I could see like even a few minutes spent with her, full of energy, and the thought process are so much so distinctive enough, and her schedule is so huge and hectic, and even today she would hardly be present only for 45 minutes like that. That's how the speakers, and when we approached him again, he said, "What is the population?" Sir, more than 300 registrations are both offline and online, and that's sufficient. And few more on the pipeline of doing some few spot registration as well. So he signed and gave. We went for like from the extra funds some amount to be given for the conference. Then he said, "No, I'll forward. Go get it from the Bank of India." Full recommendation. So thank you, and thank you so much, sir. And on this occasion, a few of the highlights of our department, but then I would like to stress one important factor which he has to approve very soon. Sir, we had way I could not imagine a day like this. So much of positive and energy, and in a learning context, particularly to me, in grooming me, he's always for me when I reach, he never look for time frame. And he would agree. I know he scheduled last week only he had his international conference, and I thought after the conference there will be few reviews will be after March. So, but then I said, sir, this is date, I'm coming. So nice of you, sir. I'm really happy that for all the efforts and your being by my side, all my journey. Thank you. If you, I got to speak about there are online presenters, even online presenters are our own department scholars who have been proving so much so good in, IIT, central universities, state universities, and foreign universities, which this 18 years of journey, nearly 19 years of this department, I had been in each and every part of its growth, and today we could see our alumnus, their contribution is volumes and volumes, large. When I say they are being placed in IIT, central universities, state universities, government universities, and last week one had cleared the UPSC examination. There are other group service students who had cleared. So like that, we are so many parallel thought processes, and I cannot keep aside my faculty members and foresee all this. They are beyond me, and the coordinator, Dr. Padu. Just one attitude, there are so many attitudes I can share with you when I refer to Dr. Padu. He's a coordinator, back of stage. So I said, one instance we had a faculty meeting. I said, no, it's time, Padu, you take the charge of the department, you run the show, I'll be back of you. He said, no, sir, even for me, it's done. Let the younger generations of faculty members, let them grow. No, I'll be there for them. You see the attitude, when I say, no, I'll give you the charge, you take and run the department. We had a faculty meeting. I said, run, Badhu. I said, no, sir, time for me is done. Let the other youngsters, grow. And I think, how many would carry this type of attitude? And I see that giving space for all to grow. And he is the coordinator of the digital archives. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, today if you in social platform, if you touch conference, the heat will be only, talk will be only about the international conference. Every day more than 50,000 viewers on track. So we had explored all the technologies possible, beyond the technology I would say, and this comes under the coordinatorship of Dr. Bharathiar, because he is the coordinator of the digital archives. And Professor Sami sir and Suresh sir and Kalaimani, they are part of it, though from the distant screen. When I said we will go for collaboration, they are readily accepted. And when he was the administration, Professor Sami sir, when I approach him for anything, and particularly the purchase, our department, I tell you, technically more and well advanced. And when I go for getting any technological gadgets, I do pressure him a lot. Sit with him beside, in front of him. I say, I wanted this gadget. So he had a lot of stressful time with me, in procuring certain equipment. So really happy, sir, for the collaboration. And I said, we have 6 centers and coordinators, faculty, just one minute back. Dr. Ashita Vagi is in charge of the cultural coordinator, and she had collaborated with the Gandhi Smriti and Dakshina Smriti, New Delhi. We signed an MOU, and 1,700 students across the nation, faculty members, have taken the certificate course recently, and this is again a big way by which how our department could reach run programs worldwide. 1,700 students, even we have faculty members registered for the program on non-violence from Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, no space of the globe left. That is how much she's working. And Dr. Vinod Kumar, when I took the charge, I said foreign languages, it's nomenclature, foreign languages. all foreign languages in the world will be approved. And he is running a consortium. I tell you, the revenue generation of the consortium of national languages for the department is 25 lakh per semester. Dr. Vinod Kumar. And Dr. Kashiraj is like for the center for the journal and publication. And every year we see to that our scholars articles getting published, and he is also doing a lovely job. Then Dr. David, I do not know. And this is the first time I had experience working with this tab level worker, I would say. I do not know where he has got this energy. Like at 2 o'clock I open the mobile and see he will be online, posting something on the other in connection with the accuracy, perfection, working deadly. I do not know. Like this is the first time, and he looks it for the perfection, keeping on scheduling, rescheduling. My God, and placement. Every year, minimum at least 15 students would clear net set and GR of our department. 15 students minimum. Placement training. Sir, sir, we would come again with reference to this placement, sir. We have a plan of working for all the university department, this net set coaching, and we have already worked on. We'll come back to you, sir. So. David and Putraj, I can go speak about again David, and I think all my faculty members would agree every move of the today's conference. So there are lot I can go speak about the faculty members, all my alumnus. They are slowly reaching. Only one thing, I'm not going to take much of time, but I cannot leave my students and see this conference. 15 days. I tell you, this 15 days, just 15 days long. Their contribution, my children contribution, even preparation and creative contribution. From ink to interface they lived. We can speak volumes on theoretical perspectives, but they put into practice. That is my children. How fortunate I am, and how gifted I am to have such kind of lovely children that worked. I think, they would not have worked in for their home like they work for the department. Now, I'm not exaggerating. This is me speaking. Flower decoration, UK Hall, 35 hours of dedicated floral arrangement and aesthetic setup. 35 hours. Bharati Hall decoration, 15 hours spent on design and executing the decorative layout. Everything speaks when they pen down something, it has got some story back of to tell. So then Rangoli, 2 days of conceptual planning, followed by 6 hours of detailed execution. It's not simple work. We have not got anything from ready-made. All these are works of my lovely children's hands. And every work of art has got a story to tell. Theme development curated and concept blending new school and old school of thought, creating a fusion of tradition and contemporary design. Creative corner, 3 days of brainstorming, 12 hours of preparation and 6 hours of final arrangements. Wall painting, 1 week of conceptual planning. I tell you, for the faculty members who come from the other worlds, you are sad, you come to my department, you live. They have made each and every space living. Wall painting, 1 week of conceptual planning and 2 weeks of continuous artistic work. They have literally made each and every inch of the space a lived experience, and you're gonna experience for the outsiders. When you come to my department, you will know how they have made every nerve every students, their contribution in some way or the other with respect to the intelligence, they possess. Planned arrangement, three days dedicated to planning and execution of planned displays. Reception costume, if you see minute from dress, the way carrying, text beyond text, you have so many stories being narrated, and it will take years to to comprehend what my students want to talk about. Reception costume design with the reflective approach of balancing traditional aesthetic with modern style. So, and for all this, all the faculty members, particularly today, and this is for this conference, I say this the daredevil is back off, and it has come good. So with this note, I can go speak on and on. I welcome each and everyone to my department and for this conference. Thank you and thank you so much. I welcome each and everyone. The madam has come. Professor Jaya madam is here today. Sada is here, and I could see a few more of my students who are already on different platforms. They come over here. So all my alumnus students, we're going to have a lovely blast by this evening. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for all the love and the heartfelt welcome. And we also welcome you. As a token of our respect and appreciation, we take this occasion to felicitate the distinguished dignitaries gracing this conference. May I now request Professor Dr. R. Rajavel, Registrar, Bharathiar University, to kindly honor Professor Dr. V. Bharati Harishankar, Vice Chancellor, Avinashalingam University for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore. I now invite Dr. P. Nagaraj, Professor and Head, Department of English and Foreign Languages, to honor our Registrar, Professor Dr. R. Rajavel. May I now invite Dr. P. Nagaraj, Professor and Head, Department of English and Foreign Languages, to honor Professor Dr. R. Palanivel, former Professor and Head, Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bharathiar University. I invite Dr. P. Nagaraj, Professor and Head of the Department, to felicitate Dr. Chelasamy. May I now request our respected Registrar to felicitate Professor Dr. T. Marks. Our respected Registrar is now honoring Dr. Marks, Professor, Department of English, Pondicherry University.
Thank you, respected dignitaries. When leadership transcends administrative oversight, it cultivates intellectual climates and nurtures scholarship. This is seen in the leadership of Professor Dr. R. Rajavel, Registrar Bharathiar University and the patron of this conference. Sir, may I now respectfully invite you to deliver the presidential address.
morning to all. The Honorable Vice Chancellor, Humanities Institute, Coimbatore, Dr. Bharathiar, most respected Dr. P. Sankar IAS, Secretary to Government, Convener Vice Chancellor Committee, my dear friend Durga Sankar, PC Committee member, respected former Professor Dr. Bharathiar, eminent Professor from Bharathiar University, Dr. Marx, the respected Professor Head Department of English, Nagaraj, Professor Salasani, Professor Patmanathan, and Suresh, dignitaries of the days and not the days. Once again, good morning to all. I am happy to participate and inaugurate the great event in Bharathiar University. The Bharathiar University is a top-ranked institution in Tamil Nadu with the A++ grade. We are here to start a major collaboration between Department of English and Foreign Languages and Center for Distance and Online Education organize from Ink to Interface English Studies 2.0, the hybrid international board conference. I once again congratulate the organizing team for a very good arrangement. Many participants from various institutions, especially coming from our own Bharathiar University English Department, and many eminent professors from various institutes, many research scholars, and students from various prestigious institutes come over here to participate in the great event. We are privileged to have Professor Dr. Bharathiar, Vice Chancellor of Humanities Institute, and our online keynote speakers, Professor Dr. Maya Himani David from the University of Malaya. The theme of the conference is From Ink to Interface, Connect the History of the Written Word, Ink with the Modern Digital Word Interface. This hybrid conference, combining in-person and online participation, is a perfect example of how digital tools are changing English studies. This is a very wonderful conference. What is the use of international conference or any national conference organized for students? The main thing is to develop writing skill, reading skill, communication skill. To know about research, recent to know about research. That's why I organized this type of conferences for betterment or benefits of the research scholars. ஒன்று நான் என்ன சொல்கிறேன்னா, இந்த இங்கிலீஷ் லிட்ரேச்சரில் இங்கிலீஷ்னு ஒரு சப்ஜெக்ட் இல்லாமல் இருந்திருந்தா நான் ரெஜிஸ்டராக வந்திருக்க மாட்டேன், ப்ரொஃபஸராக இருக்க முடியாது. அதான் உண்மை. ஏன் சொல்கிறேன்னா, அது எதுக்கு நான் அந்த ஒரு லைன் சொல்கிறேன்னா, நான் கிராமத்து ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டு, அதாவது கவர்மெண்ட் ஸ்கூல் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டு. இங்கிலீஷ்னாவே பயங்கர அலர்ஜி. எப்படியும் 10th பாஸ் ஆகிட்டேன், +2 எப்படியும் 70 மார்க் எடுக்க முடியாது. எப்படியும் அது ஃபெயில் ஆகிடும், இங்கிலீஷ் ஃபெயில் ஆகிடும். மற்ற சப்ஜெக்ட்லாம் மார்க் நிறைய. கெமிஸ்ட்ரியில் 173, 820, 820,200, 820. அப்போ 900 தான் ஸ்டேட்லேயே ஃபஸ்ட்டு மார்க்காக இருக்கும். பட் ஆனால் எனக்கு பயங்கர பயம் இங்கிலீஷ் தான். இங்கிலீஷில் ஏன்னா அந்த 70 டச் பண்ணுறது பெரிய விஷயம். பயங்கர கஷ்டமாக இருக்கும். பேப்பர் 1, பேப்பர் 2 இருக்கும். பேப்பர் 2ல் ஏதாவது ஒன்று அங்கே கொடுத்துருக்குறதே திருப்பி எழுதி வச்சு ஏதாவது ஒன்று பண்ணிக்கிறது. அந்த எஸ்ஏஎஸ்ல மற்றெல்லாம் ஒன்றுமே இல்லை. ஆச்சு தம் பிடிச்சதை 2 எஸ்ஏவை மெமரி பண்ணி எழுதிடுது. ஆனால் உண்மையிலுமே சொல்கிறேன், இங்கிலீஷ் சப்ஜெக்ட் இல்லாமல் இருந்திருந்தா நான் இவ்வளோ தூரம் அதுக்கு பயந்துக்கிட்டே இங்கிலீஷ் பாஸ் பண்ணோம்னா கரெக்டாக இங்கிலீஷ் ரிசல்ட் வந்தது. போய் பார்த்தேன், கரெக்டாக 70 மார்க். நான் +2 இதே காட்டுறேன். உங்களுக்கு வேணா அந்த மார்க் ஷீட்டே கொண்டாந்து காட்டுறேன். 70 கரெக்டாக 70, 200 அவுட் ஆஃப் 70. 70 முக்கியம் கிடையாது, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸில் பாஸ் ஆகிட்டான். டோட்டல் மார்க் 820, 1200 அரௌண்ட் 720 ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸ். நான் 820 இல்லை, அப்போ 820 ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸில் பாஸ் ஆகிட்டான். பயங்கர ஃபேமஸ் எனக்கு கிராமத்தில். எங்கள் ஊர்லேயே நான் தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிராஜுவேட். எப்படி +2 பாஸ் ஆகிட்டான் அப்படின்னு ஒரு அவேர்னஸ் கிரியேட் ஆகிடுச்சு. அதுக்காக சொல்கிறேன். அதனால் இந்த மாதிரி கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் வந்து நான் நிறைய கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் அட்டன் பண்ணுவேன். நான் சொன்னார் ஒரு கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் பற்றி, ஏன் ஷார்ட் பீரியடில் ஒரு இன்டர்நேஷனல் கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் அப்படின்னா, எப்பவுமே ஒரு கான்ஃபரன்ஸில் இன்டர்நேஷனல் லெவல்னா மினிமம் ஒரு 6 months அல்லது 4 months டியூரேஷன் இருக்கணும். ஒரு நேஷனல் கான்ஃபரன்ஸில் ஒரு 3 months டியூரேஷன் இருக்கணும். அவேர்னஸ் இருக்கணும். இங்கே இன்டர்நேஷனல் கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் நடக்குதுன்னா அட்லீஸ்ட் வந்து ஒரு 4-5 ஸ்டேட் ஆஃப் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸு அசம்பிள் செய்யறாரு. அது பெனிஃபிட்டட் இருக்கணும். முக்கியமாக வந்து ஒரு கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் வந்து ஸ்பான்சர்டு கான்ஃபரன்ஸ், கவர்மெண்ட் ஸ்பான்சர்டு கான்ஃபரன்ஸஸ் ரெகனைஸ் கான்ஃபரன்ஸ், சிஎஸ்ஐஆர் ஸ்பான்சர்ட், டிஎஸ்டி ஸ்பான்சர்ட், டிபிடி ஸ்பான்சர்ட், யூஜிசி ஸ்பான்சர்ட், இந்த மாதிரி ஸ்பான்சர்டு கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் பிகேம் ஹை ரெவல்யூஷன். தட்ஸ் வை தான் நான் சொல்கிறது. சார் தப்பு நினச்சிங்கன்னா ஷார்ட் பீரியடில் ஆரம்பிக்கிறது பெரிய விஷயம். இப்போ டிஜிட்டல் வேர்ல்டு நாங்களாம் பண்ணுறபோது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நிறைய போஸ்டல் அனுப்பி அட்டன் பண்ணுவாங்க. இப்போ வந்து ஃபோன் பண்ண போது 1/2 மணி நேரத்தில் வந்துடலாம். ஆனால் அதெல்லாம் கிடையாது. பட் இருந்தாலும் ஒரு ரெகக்னேஷன் வந்து பேர் பியூட்டிஃபுல் அரேஞ்ச்மெண்ட். இந்த மாதிரி அரேஞ்ச்மெண்ட் எப்படி? அதே மாதிரி இந்த பாரதியார் யூனிவர்சிட்டி, ஐ நோ இங்கிலீஷ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் இட்ஸ் a leading department, it's a very strengthening department. Many students clear UGC NET exam. UGC NET, many students every year, many students clear UGC NET exam. It's a very important. அதான் வந்து டீச்சிங் லேர்னிங் ப்ராசஸ்க்கு ஒரு மோட்டிவேஷன். ஒரு டீச்சர் வந்து குட் டீச்சர் அப்படிங்கிற ப்ரூவ் பண்ணுறது தான் அந்த யூஜிசி நெட் எக்ஸாம் வந்து பாஸ் ஆகுது. ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்கு என்ன ஒரு பெனிஃபிட்னா, காலேஜ் லெவலில் வந்து காலேஜ் டிஆர்பி எக்ஸாமினேஷன் போடுறாங்க. பட் இப்போ மாடல் பாலிசியில் என்ன பண்ணியிருக்காங்கன்னா, யூனிவர்சிட்டிலையும் ஒரு டிஆர்பி எக்ஸாம் நடத்த போகிறாங்க. அப்போ யூனிவர்சிட்டிலையும் டிஆர்பி எக்ஸாம் நடத்தி தான் போஸ்டிங் போட போகிறாங்க. இதான் மாடல் பாலிசி எக்ஸாம். இந்த 2026 onwards மாடல் பாலிசி இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன். அப்போ யூனிவர்சிட்டிக்கும் டிஆர்பி மூலியமாக செலெக்ஷன் பண்ணி தான் போட போகிறாங்க. அதுக்கு இந்த யூஜிசி நெட் எக்ஸாம் பாஸ் பண்ண ஸ்டூடெண்ட்லாம் எலிஜிபிள் ஃபார் டிஆர்பி எக்ஸாமினேஷன். அதனால் மெனி அட்வான்டேஜஸ், மெனி இது வந்து டெவலப்மெண்ட் இருக்குது. அதனால் மெயினாக வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, நான் மெயினாக சார் ப்ரொஃபஸர் வந்து பள்ளிவேல் சார் வந்து மேபி அரௌண்டு ஒரு 10 years எனக்கு தெரியும். ஒரு நான் எப்படி சொல்கிறது, ஒரு டிசிப்ளைனான ஒரு டீச்சர். எப்படி சொல்கிறேன்னா, எங்கள் யூனிவர்சிட்டியில் வந்து சிண்டிகேட் மெம்பராக இருக்கேன். நான் பல டைம் பார்த்துருக்கேன். நான் அதிகமாக அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டிவ் பிளாக் வரமாட்டேன். பட் ஏன்னா எனக்கு தெரியும். பட் ரொம்ப டிசிப்ளினான டீச்சர், ஒரு ஷார்ப் மைண்டட். அதாவது தமிழில் சொன்னோம்னா எண்ணம், சொல், செயல், இந்த மூன்றும் ஒரு நேர்கோட்டில் அமைப்பெற்ற ஒரு மாமனிதர் தான் நம்ம பள்ளிவேல் சார். வந்து நீங்களாம் மறந்து விடக்கூடாது. ஏன்னா அந்த ஒரு ஆளுமை அந்த மாதிரி இங்கிலீஷில் வந்து ரொம்ப ஒரு டெப்த்தான ஒரு டீச்சர். அதனால தான் பேஸ் மட்டத்தினால தான் இந்த இங்கிலீஷ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டு பாரதியார் யூனிவர்சிட்டியில் வந்து நம்பர் 1 இருக்கிறது காரணம் வந்து அதுதான். வந்து நான் திருப்பி சொல்கிறேன். ஐ கங்க்ராச்சுலேட் தி ஆர்கனைசிங் டீம் ஃபார் ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் அரேஞ்சிங் இன்டர்நேஷனல் கான்ஃபரன்ஸ். அதே மாதிரி கன்வீனியர் டாக்டர் பி நாகராஜ் சார், அதே மாதிரி டாக்டர் சனசன் சார், ஆர்கனைசிங் செக்ரட்டரிஸ் பத்மநாபன் அண்ட் வி சுரேஷ் அண்ட் அதர் டீம், especially PG students are organized the very beautiful event. நான் கடைசியாக ஒன்று என்ன சொல்ல வரேன்னா, ஒவ்வொரு வாழ்க்கையிலும் ஒரு மனிதனுக்கு வந்து என்ன 3 நிலைகள் தான் முக்கியம். ஃபஸ்ட்டு வந்து தாலாட்டு, கடைசியில் வந்து நீராட்டு, இடையில தான் வந்து பாராட்டு. அதனால் அனைவரும் சொசைட்டியில் பாராட்டும்படியே நடந்து கொள்ள வேண்டும், பாராட்டுகள் கிடைக்க வேண்டும் என்று உங்களையெல்லாம் வந்து நான் வேண்டி கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். அதே மாதிரி ஸ்பெஷல் அப்ரிசியேஷன் டு Professor Dr. Sangamitra and the faculty of both departments of the education. To all our delegates and students, you will be the learning from experts. Mainly on the beautiful experts come over here various places to deliver a beautiful lecture to the benefit of the students. Dr. Marx from Pondicherry University, Professor Dr. S. Sendinathan, Professor Pannivel sir, Karthika and Sanmuga. I encourage you to participate fully. I wish this conference great success and we bridge the gap between tradition and the future. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging message. The inaugural address of a conference does more than formally commence the proceedings. As we now proceed to this important segment, it would be apt to have the speaker of the inaugural address to be introduced by Dr. M. Ashita Varghese, Assistant Professor of Department of English. Ma'am, please.
Most respected Registrar, Rajavel sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam, Bharathi ma'am, former head of the department and my teacher, Bharathiar sir, present head of the department and my teacher, Nagaraj sir, all the faculty members, distinguished delegates, scholars and dear participants, I extend my conference greetings to each and every one of you. As we all know, our conference today, as we titled From Ink to Interface, English Studies 2.0, carries within it a beautiful, striking parallel. Today we know English studies as a discipline inhabit a different zone between the worlds, between the printed page and the contemporary new platforms. So as I reflect on this theme, this sense of parallel journey beautifully resonates with our distinguished chief guest as well. I've often wondered what it truly means when a scholar, a faculty of literature, becomes an administrator. We know literary minds are trained to dwell in metaphors, in narrative, and in aesthetic reflection. So it is keen to observe how somebody from a literary background enters into the world of governance and policy making. Literally to move between the left brain and right brain, as we metaphorically call it, to have the rational and the creative thinking. And it is with great pleasure I introduce our Honorable Chief Guest of the Day, Professor Dr. V. Bharathi Harishankar, the Vice Chancellor of Avinashi Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education of Women, Coimbatore. Moving through ma'am's profile, at the very first glance, it felt deeply inspiring to see this synthesis, as I mentioned, a literary mind with deep intuition and thinking, effortlessly engaging in governance and policy making. Ma'am began her academic journey as a scholar of English at University of Hyderabad and later served as a professor of English. Very interestingly, the founding head of the Department of Women's Studies at University of Madras. Her scholarship spans across areas such as post-colonial literature, feminist criticism, translation studies, and literary theory, engaging deeply with the questions of identity, gender, and culture. Ma'am has authored and edited over 100 scholarly publications, including books, essays, and translations, and has presented her research at numerous international academic forums. Her academic background also extends to digital pedagogy and blended learning, exploring how literary scholarship can move beyond the printed page into new technological interfaces, making her journey resonate strongly with the spirit of this theme, From Ink to Interface. So as was mentioned, she was the former head of the Department of Women's Studies at Madras University and the director of IQAC and the director of HRDC as well at the University of Madras. And I'm particularly curious to know about her contribution in setting up the Gender Lab for Diversity and Inclusiveness Education, which is known as GLIDE, the first of its kind in the country, in collaboration with Sutherland Global Services at University of Madras. Ma'am has also collaborated on numerous projects with IIT Madras, International Development Research Center, the National Commission for Women, and University Grants Commission. To name a few, she has been nominated as South Zone Coordinator for the Vikshit Bharat initiatives by UGC and the Ministry of Education, coordinating with 33 universities across multiple states. She has also been an invitee to G20 academic deliberation at IIT Madras and and served as a preliminary panel advisor for Sahitya Academy Award in English. Alongside her scholarly and academic achievements and leadership, she is also the fellow of the Royal Society of Arts in London, and she has obtained visiting fellowships to University in New Zealand and also honorary adjunct professorship at Athabasca University, Canada. She has achieved Shastri Indo-Canadian Collaborative Course Development Grant. She has also been nominated as the member of Australian Institute of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Studies, Australia. You know, we really cannot carry certain people in a CV, they keep outgrowing. In a nutshell, I would like to put it this way: a scholar, an academician, rooted in literature, who continues to shape the future of education through thoughtful and inclusive leadership. And for many of us, especially women in academia, in English academia, seeing a distinguished scholar, a faculty, rising to positions in leadership is profoundly inspiring. In welcoming her today, I believe we celebrate not only an accomplished Vice Chancellor, but also a reminder of what the study of literature can inspire: the clarity of thought, the courage to lead with both intellect and intuition. So dear members, please join me in warmly welcoming our guest of the day, Professor Dr. V. Bharathiar. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am, for that thoughtful and engaging introduction. It is now my great honor to invite Professor Dr. V. Bharathiar, Vice Chancellor, Avinashalingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore, who is widely admired for her visionary leadership and contributions to language and literary scholarship. We welcome you to deliver the inaugural address, ma'am.
Thank you. Dear Registrar, distinguished guests, the head of the department, the organizing team, other friends, but the most important, long-standing friend, Professor Padivel, and of course, all of you who are adding glitter to the conference today. See, when we look at where English studies is poised, this is a question we seem to keep asking every 10 years. Every 10 years, we ask, what is happening to literature? The truth is, literature is thriving. Literature is moving forward. Only thing is, the way we look at literature keeps changing. So that is why, when you start looking at literary theory, we started by saying, let's focus from the perspective of the author. So we had biographical criticism. Then we said, no, let's focus only on the text. So we started looking at formalist, structuralist criticism. Then we say, let us connect literature to the world. So your moral criticism, cultural criticism came from there. And finally we declared the author is dead. So we started looking at literature from the point of view of the reader. So the entire post-structuralist, deconstructionist paradigm comes from there. But literature is actually way beyond all of these. We keep touting multidisciplinarity now. If you ask me, a literature component is the only truly multidisciplinary perspective we can ever have. See, for instance, when I was being introduced, it was mentioned that it's inspiring that I can manage my scholarship with administration. That's what literature gives you. It gives you the creativity to look at things from very, very different perspectives. It also repeatedly forces you to look at the context in which we are taking a decision. The context is very important for literature. But even beyond that, when we look at how English studies have moved forward, decade after decade, we ask the question, is literature useful anymore? And then we say, it's not only useful, it's crucial. About 15, 18 years ago, Professor Pinewell and I, we contributed an article called Paratextual Narrativization. And I don't know if you remember, sir, this was a conference and we made a presentation. And the first thing they said was, how does paratextual mean? How can you look at narratives? And we said, no, every narrative has several layers from within which we can study it, we can examine it. And interestingly, in that article, we have proposed a model for distance and online education where we say when you teach literature, where it is not a live classroom and you do not have the faculty and student in the same room, how do we take forward? And that is where we said the power of narratives are very important. Kada kekano, kada sollano. Stories are important. Moving forward, we also said, don't stop just by narrativizing. Look at it contextually. Every little intervention has several layers from within the text, from outside the text, the way we interact. All of these seem to make a difference in how we move forward. Now, AI is here to stay. We cannot close our eyes. We cannot say, I do not want. It happened with some of the technologies. We kept ourselves aloof and said, we do not want this technology, but AI is not that way. In fact, AI probably tells you what you should be wearing today. Little, inspirational inputs it gives. But how does the AI operate? I don't know how many of you have raised the question. It operates on the principle of narratives. It operates on the principle of intersections and interactions between different components. But way beyond that, it assumes a cognitive presence. And how do you develop this cognitive presence? By telling a story, by listening to a story, by narrating a story, by reading a story. And all these storytelling, I'm not saying it, years ago, more than a century ago, Sigmund Freud wrote a little article called Creativity and Daydreaming. It has a very strong connection. AI is now bringing back the same model where you combine your cognition or understanding along with the possibilities, and even a step forward, it is looking at, can you daydream? That's where your metaverse is taking you to. So whether we talk about the days of inking, which define literature, or the days of interfacing with different media that propels literature, literature is here to stay. We may reinvent roles for literature, but we cannot do away with literature. On that note, hearty felicitations to the organizing team for taking this forward. It's a very important aspect to be addressed, not to write off English studies, but to say, like a phoenix, it keeps arising out of its ashes, and now it is up to us to say where and how we want English 2.0 to move forward. But that is very much in our hands, and if this conference and its deliberations can provide us certain perspectives, all is well with English Studies 2.0, and time to come, we will probably be looking at newer, different, scintillating versions of English Studies. Thank you. Thanks for this question.
Thank you, Madam, for that inspiring and enlightening inaugural address. May I once again request our respected registrar to felicitate Professor Dr. S. Sendilnathan. Our respected registrar is now honoring Dr. Sendilnathan, Director, UGC MMTTC and Professor of Educational Technology, Bharathiar University.
An academic gathering of this scale is enriched not only by the deliberations and discourses it hosts, but also by the documentation of its intellectual contributions. In harmony with the theme of this conference, it is a matter of great pleasure that we now have the release of the conference abstracts in the form of a CD. May I now request Professor Dr. R. Rajabel, Registrar Bharathiar University, to kindly release the conference abstracts. Now I kindly request Professor Dr. Palanivel to receive the abstracts.
Thank you, respected dignitaries. At the heart of every conference lies a keynote address, which frames the central concerns of the gathering. Before we listen to the keynote address, it is customary to briefly acquaint ourselves with the distinguished academician who will deliver it. May I now request Dr. V. David Adpudaraj, Assistant Professor of English, to introduce the keynote address.
Respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, faculty members from different institutions, scholars, students, participants, a very warm good morning to one and all present here. And here I am to introduce the keynote speaker, and at the outset I would say she has been waiting for almost 1.5 hours, and she has joined online, Professor Dr. Maya David. And to talk about her, before I go into the profile, we've been sharing a good relationship for the past, say, 8 to 10 years, and she has been in the panel of examiners. And when we were planning this conference, we have mentioned it already, that this was planned in a very short period of time. And when this was planned, we had a very little time to approach any international speaker. And when I approached her, without any second thought, She was generous enough to accept our invitation. For that kind gesture, I would like to heartily thank her for this kind gesture. Thank you so much, ma'am. And to talk about her, ma'am is the honorary professor in Asia Europe Institute, University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And her profile actually runs for pages, and I don't think that is a good thing to read it now. I don't want to stand between you and her, but she has been a member of various boards and committees, and her areas of specialization are language maintenance and shift among minority communities, language planning and policy, discourse in professional and institutional settings, cross-cultural pragmatics, and the evolving area called gerontolinguistics. And she is a much sought after person, international figure in sociolinguistics, and she has got more than 3,000 citations to her credit. Such respected and renowned person she is. I don't want to steal much of her time. With this brief introduction, I welcome and I thank ma'am for accepting our invitation and joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that gracious introduction. I am now deeply privileged to welcome our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Maya Kimlani David, Honorary Professor, Asia Europe Institute, University of Malaya, Malaysia, who is internationally recognized for her pioneering work in sociolinguistics and discourse studies. Professor, we are greatly delighted by your virtual presence, and I respectfully invite you to deliver the keynote address.
என்னடா
Friends, kindly be patient for the day. There is a bit of a technical issue. We'll resort it quickly. Kindly be patient. Thank you.
Friends, please settle down and please do not leave the hall yet. We have a bit of delay which will be resolved quickly. I kindly request you to remain inside the hall.
Friends, please stay back. Stay inside the hall itself. Do not leave yet. The session is not over. We have a small technical issue which will be resorted quickly. Thank you.
initiatives flourish through words of appreciation and encouragement from personalities who actively nurture scholarly endeavors. Among those who have extended such support to this conference is Dr. P. Chelasamy, convener of this conference and the director of the Center for Distance and Online Education, Bharathiar University. Sir, may I now invite you to kindly deliver the felicitation address.
Very good morning, all of you. The most respected Vice Chancellor Committee Convener, Dr. Sangar IAS, respected Vice Chancellor Committee Member, Mr. Durga Sangar, respected Registrar, respected today's the Chief Guest for this inaugural function, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Humanities Institute of Home Science, Professor Dr. Bharathiar Sangar, respected Professor Padalivel, former Professor Head Department of English of Bharathiar University, respected the convener of this today's event, Professor Dr. P. Nagaraj, respected Registrar of Bharathiar University, Professor Rajavel, learned professors and the participants and research scholars and faculty from the various institute and also Department of Bharathiar University. Once again, good morning, honorable present here. And also, I am very much happy to stand before you for this offering felicitation for the today's international conference on From Ink to Interface English Studies 2.0. I think that first of all, I would like to convey my appreciation to the Department of English and also Foreign Language for having taken the pain to organize such a program in a very grand, successful manner. I think that I just in the Professor Department of Commerce, especially for English, Professor Nagaraj has approached me and he asked me for collaboration with the Department of English as well as the Center for Distance and Online Education to organize such a program. Immediately accepted, and also I just asked the faculty member from the Center for Distance Education to cope up with that Department of English and also Foreign Language. Suddenly accepted, and also they taken forward for to organize this kind of program. Really, I would like to convey my sincere thanks on behalf of CDOE of Bharathiar University to the convener and also Professor Head, Department of English and Foreign Studies, Professor Nagaraj sir, for having taken the pain, because within a short notice, because no one is going to conduct this conference for the international level within 15 days. So I think being a faculty, being a scholar, you know very well, once you organize any kind of program, how much the pain will take for the organizer as well as the team. So really, I fortunate thank all the entire team of the faculty members from the English and also Foreign Studies, and also the faculty from the CDOE of Bharathiar University for successfully organizing such kind of program. My friends, I think that you know the topic chosen by the department is very, very innovative in the present scenario. The into that interface, yes, it's the right time that for chosen topic. So now everybody is maybe moving to the AI technology. I rightly mentioned about our Honorable Vice Chancellor of Humanities University, though that maybe technology may be coming force. So, but don't that maybe for out of that particular existing what system we followed. So even that we are following AI technology, AI may be simplifying a lot of things to the learners for learning the English language. So I just used to remember my own stories for when I was doing my UG level. Because our registrar has also mentioned that it is 12th standard. I am talking about that how the English may be significant to the individual persons, especially for the learners. So I just remember for my UG program, when I was doing my UG, so one of the professors from, he's taken the subject and he is from the Kerala. Then he is taking the subject beyond the subject, he used to maintain the Pakka discipline. Once he may enter into the classroom, you always see that the students that the punctuality as well as the discipline. That discipline always comes from the English department. So the English maybe have educating the people not only for English and also educating to the discipline also. So I learned from that professor for how he would behave in front of the faculty members and how he would behave in front of the public. So I take this opportunity. I thank the English department for having given me this opportunity. So this conference maybe marks the important moment in the evolving journey of English studies from the traditional work in ink into manuscripts and also the printed textbook to the modern digital interface that shapes contemporary communication and scholarship. The discipline has undergone remarkable transformation. Today, English studies is no longer confined to literature. It extends to digital humanities, media studies, cultural studies, and interdisciplinary research that reflects the changing dynamic and also the global knowledge of the landscape. On behalf of the organizing institution, I take immense pleasure in felicitating our distinguished chief guests and keynote speakers and invited experts, hosts that presence has brought immense value and prestige to this academic gathering. Their scholarly contributions of the intellectual leadership and continue to inspire the researchers, educators, and students across the world. Your willingness to share your knowledge, insights, and experiences with us today is deeply appreciated. The perspectives you being will undoubtedly enrich our understanding of how English studies continues to adapt and flourish in the digital era. So I would also like to acknowledge the efforts of the organizing committee and faculty members, research scholars and volunteers whose dedications and tremendous teamwork for made this conference possible. So their hard work began that scene for deserves our sincere appreciation. I am confident that the deliberations, presentations and also discussions in this conference will open new avenue for research and encourage the collaborations among the scholars and also students. To strengthen the role of English studies in responding to the challenges and opportunities to the 21st century. So I hope that even I just used to remember about when I was doing my research, the commerce, so though that now a lot of technology we are using, when you are checking grammatical and spelling mistake, we are using that a lot of technology for correcting our thesis reports. But earlier just say what we depend only on the English process. I approached one of the retail process. So he's from the Madurai, he done he did that is carried in the Medina College. He's a very senior post professor and he has given that each and every word. Even at that time, because I used to receive that report from the foreign examiner, he used to give that even for full stop and comma and inverted comma, semicolon and colon. There are a lot of meanings for the each and every words. So he is being given the correction for the each and every words. That time I came know that how much is significant for the English. So now that English may be simplified to all the learners, so now the learners can easily learn that English very, very simply without any adults and also the hesitations. Now again, many places we are just always talking about, once we say about English, so they will think about that, yes, once we be clear with English, we are that I am talking about BCom course, those times only 2 semesters. So 2 semesters English paper for the first and second semester, so those periods before 20 years. Now we have 4 semesters. So once we clear BCom, the English course or English subject, then you will be completed the degree. So that much that the importance for the difficulty was happened to those who are pursuing that degree to those periods. Now it is not called that the hardest one. It may be for very, very simplified to all the learners, all the degree holders can easily clear that the degree with the learning practices also may be simplified with the help of the technological aspects. Thanks to the technology for having simplifying that language to the learners for clearing or learning more and more about the particular subjects. So I hope that this conference, this 2-day conference will definitely will give a meaningful to the learners and the platform also will be open to the research scholars to move forward to strengthening the language communication to the unknown peoples. So really I just hope that I believe that the conference and also the learners can spend the time with the 2 days and can get more and more insights and more and more information from this conference, and you can apply for your career, and that will help you to open for a new platform to your the research aspects, especially for the English. So why that I can give some more things for even Madam also mentioned about the distance and Center for Distance Online Education. So through that we may be offered for the online program. So online we are offering that there are 3 UG and also 5 PC programs. So that too 7% completely go for only online educations. So only online educations. How we may be communicate the message to the learners. So the learners can simplify the language in a different forms for the different programs. So now we successfully within Tamil Nadu, within the successfully for especially Bharathiar University, we are launching. We have that more than 7,000 plus students we are undergoing for the online education. Because of how we may be for meticulously define the online program and how this program may be for simplified to the learners. So of course, when you go for even offline mode, the online mode may be preferred by most of the learners for getting more the information. So why? Because I'm telling you, because this may be for as easy to learn and easy to communicate to the particular learners, and they easily can understand by learners, and they may be for easy approachable for getting the particular the subjects or the course. So this is how the communication may be far more significant to that the learners, and we, the Bharathiar University Center for Distance Online Education, we are offering more and more to the learners through that online mode, and we are successfully conducting the program in a right way, and even we got more appreciation from the even higher authorities association for the learners. So with this, the felicitation aspects, so I hope I once again I extend my sincere and heartfelt thanks to all the organizing team for having pain to take this kind of program organized in a successful manner. So really it is not easy to get this kind of things. I know very well how the organization may be taking that pain, even that organization may be that each and every hours. How many hours spent for that to organize to arrange the particular programs. So really how you may be dedicatedly and commitmently you are involved for organizing such programs in a wonderful manner. So with this, once again I felicitate, also I honor and also thank that once again for all the organizing for with a pleasure manner. Thank you so much for once again for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of felicitation. I am now deeply privileged once again to welcome our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Maya Kemlani David, Honorary Professor, Asia Europe Institute, University of Malaya, Malaysia. Professor, we are greatly delighted by your virtual presence finally, and I respectfully invite you to deliver the keynote address.
I want to talk to you about an area of research which I have been doing for many years, and I have more recently discovered that one important way of doing this kind of research, which I will discuss with you. So my title of my paper is Understanding Reasons for Language Shift Before Working on Appropriate Revitalization Strategies. So basically, in this presentation, I will present to you various social linguists who have actually done work in different communities and the many theories they have given for a community to move away from habitual use of its heritage language. And then I will go on to show you my own work and my realization that it is important to understand why a community moves away from habitual use of its mother tongue before we can think of appropriate revitalization strategies. Next slide, please. Next slide. Can you move on to the next slide, please? So this is just the abstract which you would have received in the abstract CD. So I will move on to the next slide. So who is interested in language shift? Basically, language shift means that a community, a speech community, an ethnic group moves away from the habitual use of its ethnic language and replaces it with another language. So who is interested in language shift? Many, many different kinds of people. Myself as a social linguist and even applied linguists are interested. They want to find out why communities move away from their mother tongue. And some of the reasons they present are because they have moved from country to country, because they are in marriages with partners from different ethnic groups and different languages, because of religion, and so on. Now, anthropologists and ethnographers are also interested in language shift because when language shifts, certain cultural practices often shift. Recently, I did research on the Sindhi community in Malaysia who have actually, for the most part, moved away from habitual use of the Sindhi language. And I looked at their prayers. If you have lost your mother tongue, in what language do you pray? Do your prayers change? That's the question I asked in that research. The third major people interested in language shift are policymakers, governments, because educational systems. Many years ago, when I was doing a research in the UK on the Sindhi community in the UK, because the Sindhi community is a diaspora community, they are found in different parts of the world. And when I asked Sindhi parents why they were not using their mother tongue in the home, they said that teachers, mainly English teachers in the schools, had told them only use English in the home. More recently, I've talked to other parents and they tell me now, because of change in mindset, change in the argument for the importance of mother tongue, they say now the teachers are telling us to use the mother tongue in the home. So there has been a change in the way language is seen as, whether it's seen as a barrier to learning a second language or whether it's seen as addition makes it easier to learn a second language. We also have scholars who do migration studies and diaspora studies. And actually, when you move from country to country, my own sister from Malaysia married somebody from India. She lives in Delhi, and she could not speak any Hindi when she first got married. Now she speaks Hindi, and her children make fun of her grown-up children, because they say the Hindi she speaks is a pidgin variety of Hindi, because she never learned it in school. She learned it from the hawkers and so on, and she copied their language. Now, religious institutions, as I mentioned earlier, are also interested when communities move away from their mother tongue, because it can also mean a change in religion. In Malaysia, for example, many of the Sindhis, when they first migrated to Malaysia, were Hindus. Today, we find some Christians among them, and we also find some who have married Muslims have become Muslims. So marriage also affects your language choice. Educators are very interested in language shift because they are of the view that the first, now they are of the view that the first language used in the home helps in learning the second language. That's a relatively new idea, and that's why mother tongues are now being promoted in India, in many countries, in Malaysia, as the first language to be used in the home, because it facilitates the learning of the second language. Families are very interested because what's your identity? Who are you? Often it's your mother tongue which determines your identity. Which language has power for you? Is it English or is it your mother tongue? So even economics, power, all these issues come in when a community moves away from its mother tongue. Now, while waiting for for the internet system to come online, I just looked at ChatGPT, and it told me that in India, in South India especially, a lot of tribal languages are very much endangered. So I'm hoping that with this talk, it will encourage students and researchers to do some research on why have they moved away from their mother tongue, these tribal communities, and like the Toda community, and what can we do to encourage them to use their mother tongue? Because there are many reasons they have moved away, as you can see from this PowerPoint. Next, please. Next slide, please. So we know that there are many people, academics, governments, communities, families are interested in why people move away, why a speech community moves away from its habitual use of its mother tongue. And we also have language activists who are working on language revitalization. But often these language activists just go into an idea. We want to create, I'm on the board where we look at grants, people who apply for financial grants to do research. And many of them want to go and document a language which they say is no more very active. They want to create dictionaries and so on. And my view is, you can create a dictionary, you can create a class, you can have teachers to teach, you can do a lot of documentation work. But what if there is no interest in learning the language by members of the community? So my argument is we need to know why the community has moved away from its mother tongue. So if it's a sociological reason, we work on those issues. If it's a psychological reason, we work on those issues. So we just can't talk about dictionaries and documentations unless you have only one speaker of that community left. And then you really need to document it before that one speaker dies. Because with the death of that one last speaker of the language will definitely die unless it has been documented in archives somewhere. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So I will now move on to different sociologists, different linguists, and their arguments. So before this, we have the theory by Fishman. Fishman did studies in America on different communities, mainly European communities who had migrated to America. This was in the late 50s, early 60s, and Fishman did questionnaire studies where he went to schools and asked the students, and it was a quantitative study, he asked students what was the language they used in the home with their mother, with the father, with the grandmother, and so on. And basically, Fishman's argument, Joshua Fishman, who is well reputed for his work on language maintenance, language shift, language revitalization, his argument was that it is in the home. If in the home, parents don't use the mother tongue with their children, that domain in the home is a very important domain. Fishman discussed a number of domains like the religious domain, the school domain, but his main argument was that if the language dies in the home, that's the beginning of language shift. UNESCO, so basically his argument, Fishman's argument was family domain. UNESCO then more recently says that we cannot look at it only from the use of the home domain. There are many, many reasons why people move away from their mother tongue. This includes the attitude of the community. It includes the support given by the education system to the mother tongue of a particular speech community. It includes the adaptability of the community to new environments they move to. So there are many reasons that people move away from their mother tongue. And we need to know these many, many reasons before we rush and try and find solutions for language revitalization. Next, please. Now, I mentioned to you Fishman. Now I will go on to Leslie Milroy, another well-known figure in the field of language shift. Leslie Milroy, working with different community, she came up with what she called the social network theory. And basically, the social network theory says that if a community is living very near to each other in a particular location, even if they have migrated, like the Chinese community in UK, if they have migrated to a particular location and they are physically close to each other, she calls this dense and multiplex networks, which means they are territorially concentrated communities. So they will maintain their mother tongue. That's the argument. But if they move away from these areas where the community lives, then they will start using the dominant language of the other majority community. So Milroy's argument is, if they move away from physical location of where members of their own speech community live, then there's possibility that there will be loss of the mother tongue. So the last sentence in this slide, as younger members migrate or move into the English-speaking environments, then the network density declines, and this results in shift. That was Milroy. So we have Fishman, we have Milroy. Now let's go on. I just want to mention to you the important people who have done studies. Susan Gell went and lived a couple of years in a particular village in Oberwart, then Hungary. And she makes a political economic analysis. She talks about ideology. So language choice due to ideology, due to attitudinal changes to the language. And she talked about the Hungarian woman in this village where she went to live in Oberwart. And she noticed that the Hungarian woman was starting to work in German factories and falling in love with a German man. And so the language of this marriage with cross-ethnic groups, the German and the Hungarian, the language in the home became German because German language was seen as socially dominant, where Hungarian language was seen as the language of the peasants, language of the farm. So heritage languages were emotionally valued, but they were seen as limited economic value. So when this woman got married, their children then learned German, so there was a shift. So it was a realization that the German language empowered them, and they didn't want to be seen associated with peasant class. So this is the ideological reason by Susan Gell. So we have Fishman and his family domain. We have Susan Gell, and we have Milroy with the network theory. Move on, please. So we noticed, therefore, looking at their research, we noticed that we have different ideas, and this particular slide actually gives you a summary of the main issues that I have just discussed. Right, next slide, please. So we have many, many forces which can cause a particular language to be seen as less important and another language to be seen as more important. When I interviewed a Malaysian Sindhi for my research on the Sindhi community in Malaysia, one grandfather told me, why should I teach them Sindhi? Why should I talk to them in Sindhi? They go to schools where English is important and Malay has become the national language in Malaysia. So these two languages are enough for them. The Sindhi Sindhi community in Malaysia is only 800 or 900 people. What is the importance of me using Sindhi? So this is the family domain that Fishman was talking about. All right. So when the family domain is weak, then chances of shift are high. But we've also seen other issues like whether the diaspora community keeps their language or doesn't. As I said, Fishman did his study on the Yiddish language, German language, and also on the Spanish-speaking communities in the US. And he saw that they were initially starting to mix the languages, and you have a mixed language with code switches and code mixers, where two languages. But then after a while, the more dominant language became the English language, American English. In Malaysia, I found the same with the Sindhi community, where the grandparents spoke in Sindhi, the parents spoke in English, and the grandchildren then had non-reciprocal. So they could hear the grandmother speaking Sindhi, but they would answer either in English or Malay. So the home domain was being lost for the Sindhi language in Malaysia. Next, please. Next slide, please. So the many reasons Fishman gave was family domain breaking down, but also schooling. Schooling was in another language, and they saw that English gave them jobs. So there was less and less of their mother tongues being used in the home and at the workplace. So Fishman's contribution was the domain theory. And his argument was, if it's no more used in the home, that's when the language is gone. Okay, let's move on. Some of the reasons given by Susan Gell, as I told you, was marriage, and she linked language shift to the ideological ideas that with German, they were seen as more modern, they were seen as urban, and women led the shift because the woman married German men. So language shift is not only about language, but it's more about ideology. Which is the more important language for your speech community? Which language gives you jobs? Next, please. Leslie and James Milroy, a husband and wife team, talked about the community in Belfast. And again, as I said, they talked about the network theory. They talk about close and dense networks. Now, what is important is we read all these theories, and many of my students read these theories, and then they go and do studies of and to see whether a community is using the language or not. But then what really happens is these theories are not necessarily universally applicable. Although Leslie and James Milroy argued that many of these theories, the network theory, was universally applicable. I did a study, as I said, on the Sindhi community in Malaysia. They are very strong networks. Sindhis know all the other Sindhis in the country. They invite them to their weddings, to their religious functions, and so on. So the network is very, very strong. But despite the network being very strong, the community in Malaysia has moved away from their language, the Sindhi language. Similarly, a study in Singapore, which I did, also shows the same thing. Strong networks. There's a Sindhi association in Singapore. There's a Sindhi association in Malaysia. They get together for prayers. They get together for social functions. But the language used during the social functions is not Sindhi. It's English, both in Malaysia and Singapore. And the language used for prayers is not Sindhi, but Hindi. Okay? For the Hindus, Sindhi Hindus. So, although there are theories and there are arguments, we really have to be very, very, we need to do studies of the community. We have to see whether these theories apply or not. and I had a student from the Philippines who at one conference said, I've done the research, but it doesn't show the theory of one of these researchers, Fishman's theory. And he said, shall I force Fishman's theory into my data? And I said, you can't do that. You can come up with a new theory and say what was wrong with Fishman's theory in line of the study that you did. So we have theories, but we have to be very careful when we do studies. Right, next. Next. So the recent studies on Malaysian communities, we have a Portuguese community, we have Indian Malay community. So we have many communities in Malaysia, and there are many reasons for language shift depending on which community you are looking at and why. Many of our indigenous communities have moved away to Malay because the dominant language of the country is Malay. It is the medium of instruction in government schools and so on. So they've moved on to Malay. And Malay gives them economic mobility. They can get jobs with Malay because the jobs that the indigenous community gets are not the upper status jobs, but more like hawkers and farmers and so on. So there are many reasons people move, but you have to study the community that you want to help to revitalize their language. So I'll give you an example of work done in India by a linguist. I wouldn't call her a linguist, she's more a language activist. But the work she does is very sociolinguistic. Now, this lady is called Asha Chand. She's a Sindhi lady, and her mother was a writer, literature expert, poet, and so on. And she really believes in the Sindhi language. And she's trying her very best to revitalize it because the Sindhi community, as you know, actually migrated from Sindh in Pakistan to different countries in the world, and mainly to India. There's 2 million over Sindhis in India, and they moved due to the partitioning of the Indian subcontinent in 1947. They had to flee for their lives and so on, and they were seen, according to historical sources and their own memories, they were seen as refugees, and they were housed in refugee camps. And in order to be not seen as refugees and to be looked down by the then permanent population in India, they actually moved away from their language and started using the dominant language. Sindhis who were in Gujarat then started using Gujarati even in the home. Sindhis who were in urban areas were starting and having government jobs were starting to use English and Hindi and moving away from their mother tongue. They wanted to actually conceal themselves as refugees because it didn't give them any prestige. But today, the Sindhi community, many years, 50 over years after that migration, they have come up, moved up professionally, moved up from an economic point of view. They are well known. They give charitable donations to hospitals and to schools. And Asha Chand is now finding it very difficult to encourage them to use the Sindhi language because when she goes to the homes, the mothers and fathers themselves don't know Sindhi. So now she's opening courses and competitions and giving presents to parents who can speak English, encouraging parents to speak speak Sindhi and to use Sindhi with their children. And she's giving poetry competitions for the children and giving prizes again for children who do well. And she's now going to schools where she's telling headmasters, if you start the Sindhi class, then we will get scholarships and so on. So, yeah, I'm coming to the end. So, basically, I don't have it, so. Sorry. this to end because there are many more slides which you can have a look at. I'm leaving this with the organizers. But basically, what I'm arguing is that you need to find out why a community has moved away from its mother tongue. And in Asha Chan's case, as I showed, she realized it was an uphill task, so she does a lot of different ways of, she doesn't need to document the language because the Sindhi language is documented, but she needs to encourage people to learn the language, and she does this through giving scholarships, and she goes to headmasters, talks to them about introducing Sindhi as a subject in the schools. She encourages parents to use Sindhi. She has little quizzes, and if you go to Facebook and you see what Asha Chand, A-S-H-A, Chand, C-H-A-N-D, is doing to encourage the community, you will realize she's going a completely different route to revitalize the Sindhi language among the Sindhi community in India, mainly in India, but because of social media and because there are Sindhi associations wherever the Sindhis have moved to, and because she's on Facebook and on LinkedIn, all her social media ways of revitalizing the Sindhi language is going across to different Sindhi communities in Spain, in London, in America, and so on. So although her focus is India, she stays in Dubai, but she has a lot of contests and competitions even in Dubai because there's a huge Sindhi population in Dubai. And she gets Sindhi artists from Sindh in Pakistan and from India to come across to do dances and songs. So she's revitalizing through music, through dances, through songs, and just making the mothers use the language with their children, and the headmasters using the language as a subject in school. She's even offered scholarships to people who do well in the Sindhi language. Right, so there are many more slides, but I was given a certain time. In fact, I've reduced the number of slides for today's presentation, but you can have a look at the slides, and I would be happy if I have interested any student or any researcher to do some research on language revitalizing, bearing in mind why the community has moved away from its mother tongue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor, for that thought-provoking keynote address. Like I said, language shift is rarely a simple choice. It is shaped by forces such as economic mobility, education systems, urbanization, and the prestige attached to dominant languages. Thank you, Dr. David, for gently urging us to be more conscious of preserving and valuing mother tongues within changing social realities. As this inaugural session draws to a close, it becomes our privilege to acknowledge the many individuals whose efforts and support have contributed to the conduction of this conference. May I please invite Dr. V. Suresh, Organizing Secretary of this conference and Assistant Professor of English, Center for Distance and Online Education, Bharathiar University, to propose the vote of thanks.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, distinguished scholars, honored guests, dear faculty, members of CDOE and Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bharathiar University, students, media representatives, and participants. As this inaugural session draws to a grateful close, it is my present privilege to propose the vote of thanks. I want to bring all your hearts into my tongue on behalf of the organizers of today International Conference on From Ink to Interface English Studies 2.0. Let me begin by expressing our heartfelt gratitude to Professor Dr. V. Bharathi Harishankar, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Avinashalingam University of Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore, for delivering the inspiring inaugural address. Your words remind us that education
is not merely the pursuit of knowledge, but the awakening of thought. As W.B. Yeats beautifully observed, education is not the filling of a pail, but the light of a fire. Our sincere thanks are due to our chief guest in absentia, P. Shankar, IAS, convener of Bharathiar University VC Committee, and we deeply express our grateful heart to Dr. R. Rajavel sir, Registrar, Bharathiar University, for presiding over this session and delivering the presidential address. Your leadership and encouragement strengthen the academic pursuit spirit of Bharathiar University. Our warm thanks also goes to Dr. R. Durga Shankar sir in absentia for his valuable support. We are immensely honored by the presence of our distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. Maya Kemlani David from the University of Malaya, Malaysia. Your keynote address has opened new intellectual paths with regard to indigenous language. Our gratitude is extended to Professor Dr. P. Nagaraj, convener of Today International Conference from Ink to Interface, English Studies 2.0, and head of the Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bharathiar University, for his warm welcome and tireless effort in bringing scholars together for this academic celebration. I also thank Dr. P. Cherasamy sir, Director, Center for Distance and Online Education, Bharathiar University, for your gracious felicitation and for his constant encouragement to academic initiatives. Our sincere appreciations goes to Dr. B. Padmanabhan, Organizing Secretary of this two-day conference, for presenting the conference note and for his remarkable dedication in coordinating this conference. We gratefully acknowledge the valuable presence of our esteemed resource persons, Dr. S. Sendilnathan sir from Bharati Dasan University, and Dr. T. Max, whose scholarly encouragement will undoubtedly enrich the session ahead. We also thank our reporters, Dr. G. Vinod, M. Kasirajan sir, and paper presenters, participants, press media, finance officer of Bharathiar University, PRO, public relations officer of Bharathiar University, and staff of the departments of Bharathiar University. And now let me specially thank the research scholars and students for whom the academic program is organized, and I am really envious of Professor Nagaraj, because we are not having such enthusiastic, such dedicated scholars and students in our CDOE. We really envy that. And indeed today's conference stands as a celebration of knowledge, collaboration, and intellectual curiosity. May this conference inspire meaningful dialogue, thoughtful research, and lasting academic friendship. With these words of gratitude, I once again thank each and every one of you for your presence and contribution to the success of this inaugural session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that thoughtful acknowledgement. As we conclude the inaugural session of this conference, let us remember that academic synods such as this are sites where ideas are exchanged, disciplines intersect, and the future of knowledge quietly takes shape. May the conversations that begin here today continue to inspire new research, new collaborations, and new ways of imagining the evolving world of English studies. With that, we conclude the inauguration of the two-day international conference From Ink to Interface, English Studies 2.0. We will now take a 5-minute break for tea arranged outside this hall, after which the plenary sessions of the conference will commence. Thank you all for your gracious presence. Please be back to the hall after 5 minutes.
சார்ஜ் கனெக்ட் பண்ண தம்பி. கொஞ்சம் இங்கே எங்கே கனெக்ஷன் இருக்குமா? கொஞ்சம் கம்மியாக தான் இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். பார்ப்போம். 81% பார்த்துக்கலாம். Yes, sir. நீங்களும் கூகுள் மீட்டில் நீங்களும் கேமரா ஆன் பண்ணுங்க சார். இப்போ ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணி ஆன் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஓகே. வாங்க வாங்க எங்க ஆமாம் சார் எங்க செகண்ட் பேட்ச் ஓகே டீ சாப்பிடுங்க நான் டீ சாப்பிட்றீங்க ஓகே நீங்களே ட்ரை பண்ணி வந்தீங்க ஆமாம் ஆமாம் அன்எக்ஸ்பெக்டடாக நைட்டு கொஞ்சம் ஆர்டிஸ்ட் ஆஃபீஸில் லேட்டுங்கெல்லாம் நான் அக்கௌண்ட் சைடில் ஓகே 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 சார் சரிங்க சார் அதை இல்லாட்டி நான் ஒரு சாயந்தரம் 6 மணிக்கு வந்தாங்க ஓகே அது நைட்டு 8 ஆயிடுச்சு நானே ஒன்றும் ப்ரீட் பண்ண முடியாது இந்த எலெக்ஷன்ஸ் 6 இடத்துல இருக்குங்க ஆமாம் ஆமாம் அது இப்போ தான் ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கேன் இப்போ நவ் வி கெட் டியூன்ட் நான் ரெண்டு திடீர்னு நீ காலையில் ஏர்லி மார்னிங் வண்டி சேலம் வண்டி பிச்சி வண்டி ஓகே ஏன் பிச்சி வண்டி எங்கள் ஊருக்கு போறையா தானே அது இப்போ வேற இறங்கி வேற எழுதியாகணும் ஒவ்வொரு இதுலேயும் வந்து நேற்று என்ஹெச்ல மேக்ஸிமம் இல்லைங்க என்ஹெச்னா இந்த 6 லைன் 6 வே நீங்கள் நான் இது மன்னாபுரம் ரோடு இருக்குதான் நீ காலை எங்கள் வீட்லேருந்து வர்றேன் அது எங்கள் வீடு இங்கே தான் சார் நீங்கள் இருந்தாலும் பரவாயில்ல சார் நான் ஷூட் பண்ணி இறங்கி சார் எங்களுக்கு தேவை வீடியோகிராஃபி வேணும் சார் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணி ஆகணும் அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ண இந்த செகண்ட்லேருந்து ஃப்ளைங்ஸ் கூட ஆரம்பிச்சிடறாங்க நானே அதை கொஞ்சம் ப்ரெடிக்ட் பண்ண மாட்டேன் இது ஓகே சார் ஆமாம் ஓகே ஓகே அதே மாதிரி இன்னும் 2-3 பேர் வந்தாங்க அதுக்கப்புறம் இது ஸ்கோட்டிங் நான் யூடிபிஜி எம்பி வரைக்கும் பாருங்க
CDOE professor.
தெரியும் நான் சொன்னாங்க எப்படி போகுது சார் CDOE?
பரவாயில்ல professor.
என்ன இப்போ அந்த
ஆக்டிங்லாம் நிறைய பண்ணியிருப்பீங்க இப்போ
இல்லை அதுவும்
டே பேப்பர் வரைக்கும் இருக்கு
நிறைய பண்ணுவேன்.
டே பேப்பர் எப்போ வரைக்கும் இருக்கு உங்களுக்கு?
32 வரைக்கும்.
ஓ அப்போ பிரச்சனை இல்லை. நாங்கள் தான் இப்போ மாட்டிட்டு இடையில அந்த NAC accreditation எங்களுக்கு கிடைக்கும்.
ஓகே ஓகே.
Friends, kindly ask everyone to assemble inside the hall.
Friends, please urge your other friends to come and join us. We'll be beginning the plenary sessions shortly.
Friends, we kindly request you all to assemble inside the hall immediately. We'll be beginning our plenary session as soon as possible. Please urge all of your friends to enter inside the hall immediately. We're going to begin our session shortly. Friends, occupy the front rows. Don't be scattered. Stay together.
With the inaugural proceedings of the conference having set the tone for academic deliberations, we will continue our exploration of the literary journey from ink to interface. We now move to the plenary sessions, where eminent academicians will engage with the central ideas of this conference.
Hello, 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 hello.
அக்கா நீங்கள் பேசுங்க. பேசு. Testing.
Check. In the spirit of this inquiry, let us now turn to the first plenary session. The speaker for this session is Professor Dr. S. Senthilnathan. Director UGC MMTTC and Professor Department of Educational Technology, Bharathiar University, Tiruchirappalli. Sir, we are delighted to have you with us today and we're eagerly looking forward to your session. The rapporteur for this session will be Dr. G. Vinod Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bharathiar University. Sir, may I now request you to take over the proceedings of this plenary session.
Thank you. So, good morning, good afternoon to all. It's my great privilege to introduce a resource person, Professor Dr. S. Sendilnathan, Director in charge, UGC Human Resource Development Center, and the Department of Education Technology, Bharathiar University, Tiruchirappalli. And he is guiding and conducting a research into various aspects of educational technology, ICT in education, e-learning, and media-based education and English language teaching at MEd, MPhil, and PhD levels. And he is serving as a member of the editorial board of national and international journals, both in online and print, on education, teacher education, and English language teaching. And he has published a number of research articles, popular articles on various dimensions and aspects of technology enabled learning in journals and magazines of national and international reputation. And he has published 39 international articles and 19 national level. And he has published 2 books, and he has given lectures in many national and international conference, seminars, and symposium and workshop. And his major research project on digital literacy and techno-pedagogical practice of higher education, Teachers of Tamil Nadu, funded by ICSSR, and another one project, Impactful Policy Research in Social Sciences, IMPRESS. It grants 10 lakhs rupees, and it has more number of pages to give a talk on Professor Sendilnathan sir. Due to time constraint, I just conclude the introductions about the resource person. Now I request Dr. Professor Sendilnathan sir on stage. Thank you.
What should I do?
Esteemed university officials, the conveners of this international conference, Head of the Department of English Studies, Dr. Nagaraj, my good friend, Senior Professor Panivel sir, and other senior professors like Dr. Venkateshwaran Varai, Professor Mark sir, and Professor from Government Arts College, and all the distinguished delegates of this 2-day international conference on a very vital theme, that is the transition from ink to interface. In fact, I don't know whether it is English Studies 2.0 or 3.0 or N.0 now, right? It is, because you know the velocity at which these numbers are changing is quite phenomenal these days. And dear friends, I think I will not talk much of literature or much of language also. Probably that is one of the reasons I am invited as a plenary speaker. I would talk a little more of digital technologies and integration of certain tools which are redefining the teaching and learning of English language and literature. Coming from an educational technology background, no doubt I started my career as a teacher of English, then subsequently I moved to educational technology. And we have seen the way in which technologies are implicating